Dylan Cease, your newest San Diego Padre. Padres pull off the blockbuster. AJ Preller again. Big game hunting. This is what he has done throughout the course of his tenure. The deal, as you know by now, Dylan Cease for Steven Wilson, who was a reliable reliever a year ago. Drew Thorpe just came over in that Soto deal from the Yankees. Jairo Iriarte, highly sought after pitching prospect. Sammy Zavala, young outfield prospect in the Padres organization. But Dylan Cease, 2 years of control, 28 years of age, White Sox ace, 2 years removed from finishing second in American League Cy Young voting with a 2.2 ERA, electric fastball, tons of swings and misses, more than anyone since 2021 in baseball. He is a San Diego Padres. So we're going to react here tonight. Whether you're here live or on replay, you have to subscribe. We have year-round content for you. The season is here. We are a week out. The Padres are en route right now for Korea. Please subscribe if you are here. We have year-round content for baseball fans and Padres fans. Smash the like button for us. Follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Thank you for the super chats. As you know, we get to every single super chat. It's a great way to support our work. Click the $ below the chat box. You can become a member by clicking join down below. We'll tell you more about that coming up. You'll get custom emojis and badges, but we spent this morning theorizing and speculating on this. We weren't certain if it was going to happen or not. Nobody anticipated it happening within hours. We spent 2 hours on it once it happened on John and Jim. And now further reaction, Jim. Dylan Cease is a Padre. Of course, you have to give up a good amount to get a player of his caliber. That's what the Padres did, but they should feel a lot better about the rotation today than they felt about it maybe 24 hours ago or less.
I love the trade. I do. I like it a lot. There's always risk with doing these types of deals because you're giving up top prospects, and AJ Preller's not new to doing that. He's done it a lot in his career. A lot of times, has it paid out? Has it panned out to a lot of winning? Not a lot of winning, some winning, but not a lot of winning. Juan Soto, they made the NLCS that first year. Awesome. And then in the next year, I'm not putting the blame on Juan Soto. There's a lot of other things that happened, but that team just failed. So look, I viewed this year, and I know you did too, is even though it seemed like it was a transition developmental year, it's still a must-win season. And by must-win, I mean have to make the postseason. Anything short of that, you're changing a lot of things, starting with AJ Preller. You can't miss out on this season, miss out on the postseason this year. You just can't, especially with what happened last year. Last year being the most embarrassing season in Padres history. And also hearing what Eric Katsenda had to say to start spring training, not really giving that vote of confidence to AJ like Peter Seidler used to. So with all that, you got to win this year. And I'm not saying you have to win 95 games or you have to win a World Series or you have to make the NLCS. The bar's a little lower. It is. But that bar is still postseason. And if it's 85 wins in the postseason, then it's 85 wins in the postseason. But getting Dylan Cease, that helps you right now, and it gives you a better chance to get to maybe 85, 86 wins and make the postseason. If you didn't have Dylan Cease, your margin for error is much thinner. With Dylan Cease, you have now created a bigger margin of error gap with this season, still having holes that they have on this team.
Yeah, I think it could be the difference, truthfully. If you thought this was an 82-win team, then Dylan Cease is going to be worth a couple of wins if he's healthy. He's been a 30-game starter for the last 3 years. He's absolutely capable of being worth 2, 3, 4+ wins for the Padres. And this whole idea, and I think some of it is accurate. The payroll is clearly down significantly, but this idea they can't do anything. They're fully handcuffed. They're building Gallagher Park. They have no money. They can't make any addition. And yes, Jesse, if it wasn't for your super chat, who knows if this happens earlier. So thank you, Jesse, for your super earlier. And thank you, Mike. But this idea that they have no money, they're fully handcuffed. The TV deal will set them back for forever. They can't even add $5 million. Well, that was, disproven. I don't even know if that's a word here today. They can add. Now they just have to be more careful. Obviously, they don't have the same dollars they had a year ago. They just added $8 million in payroll. And by the way, they've added a lot more than that because what you have to do is you have to look at it over a 2-year period. They're not trading Dylan Cease after 1 year. He's going to make more money in 2025. By the way, Michael King is going to make more money in 2025 too. They're $13 million under the CBT, and Dennis Lynn is writing at this hour, AJ Preller may not be done and is in the market right now for adding an outfielder, which should not surprise anyone if you look at who is on the 40-man or is ticketed to be in the outfield for the Padres. Forget about Korea, but beyond it, come March 28th. I thought it was measured. I give Preller credit. He didn't reach. He didn't do something just to do something over the course of the offseason, despite us talking about it every single day on the radio. He made the right move. We'll see if it works out, but he made the measured right move, and we'll see if it works out or not. But you're getting a guy that's proven. He hasn't been perfect. There's very few pitchers that are perfect. I don't think he's a top 3 pitcher in baseball. I do think he's a top 15 type pitcher in baseball when right, as proven by 2022, maybe even a bit better than that. But I think Preller deserves a lot of credit. In terms of what you're giving up, that's always part of a deal. Can it impact them beyond 2024? Of course it can, into their future. I'm not overly concerned about it. I still think they have a good system, maybe not as good as they had, but now they have Dylan Cease. So I'll make that trade every day of the week to get someone that can impact my rotation the way that Dylan Cease potentially can impact the Padres rotation.
Every day. All every day of the week, I'm making this trade. You have to give up to get something back. That's just how these things work. We all know that. And if you're upset about Drew Thorpe and Jairo Iriarte being traded away, those are the 2 main guys in the deal. I know Steven Wilson. Yep. Crazy story with Steven Wilson tonight. Like, he was about to get on the plane to Korea, and then whoop, nope. That was crazy. And then the outfield prospect Zavala that they traded away as well. But the biggest piece in the deal is Iriarte and Drew Thorpe. And could those guys turn out to be good players? Like, yeah, they could. I don't think they were helping this team this year, to be honest with you. Maybe they had a shot to get to the big leagues if this team wasn't in contention, and the Padres decided just to like give their young guys as many opportunities as possible to see what they have potentially. But then that means they're not winning. So then it doesn't matter. The point of 2024 is still to win. And Dylan Cease gives you a better chance to win than Drew Thorpe and Jairo Iriarte do right now. And so
there's no question.
If you are of the mindset that this is a bad trade because he gave up top pitching prospects, well, okay, but then that means you don't really want to or care about winning in 2024. That's how I view it. If you are someone against this type of trade.
Yeah, and even Preller speaking today to the media, kind of doubling down with words over action, saying this move proves we're a contender. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. I mean, our actions speak to what our desires are in 2025. All right, I want to start by getting to some of these super chats. Guys are going to be here, so settle in. Click the $ below the chat box if you want to make sure we get your comment. There's so many people here tonight. We're going to be able to get to the super chats. We'll interact with all of them. Click the $ below the chat box. If you want to become a member, custom emojis and badges, the season is here. Click the join button down below. Let's start with this. I think this is tongue-in-cheek, Jim, from Ishmael. Thank you for the super. He says, hey, guys, this is a great move for us. I know Jim was sour about it, but it'll come around. I'm pretty certain Ishmael is being tongue-in-cheek or facetious. I'm pretty sure.
I think he is.
I think so, because we literally haven't even said anything other than we like the deal all afternoon. So I think he's kidding, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I tell you how it is, man. If I didn't like it, I would tell you. Like the Juan Soto deal.
I said today, no, we like the Juan Soto deal. Well, not the Juan Soto deal leaving.
Yes, to go to New York. Now, it did end up like helping you get Dylan Cease, and now it feels like more complete, and it feels like that vision of when they traded Juan Soto is more complete. So now I feel a little bit better about it, but still you traded away like a top 3 baseball player in the game right now. So, but it feels better now that they got Dylan Cease.
Yeah, well, we didn't love exactly because you have to almost factor that into the trade because you're now using chips from that trade. But okay, we were, I think it's fair. We were both critical of the Juan Soto trade, but I would say this: we both were complimentary of when they acquired Juan Soto. Obviously, how could you not be? I also would look at this differently, and of course, it was never going to involve these players. But if it did involve like an Ethan Salas or Jackson Merrill, it's a different conversation. That's a
Completely.
completely different conversation, the way these players have been built up. If it would have even involved someone like Hassan Kim at the major league level with a year of control, I think it's a completely different story. This is you gave something up. You didn't give everything up, but this is how trades work. And from the Padres' perspective, here's how I look at it. I think the White Sox addressed what they wanted to address. They're thinking 2025 and beyond, if not 26. Padres are thinking now. That's a trade. One's playing for now, the other's playing for later. That potentially is a win-win. We'll see. Nick, thank you. He says he listened to a White Sox podcast, break down the trade, and my takeaway is clear. I'd rather get the ace than speculate on prospects. And that's always the case. That's always the case. You'd rather be, you'd rather be on this side of a trade, and the Padres have been on both in recent history here, if you include that Soto trade when they traded him to the Yankees. But I'm 100% with you. I mean, if nothing else, this is who Preller is. And I kind of commend him for it because it makes Padres baseball entertaining all year long, because he's capable of doing something like this that very few GMs truthfully do. And he does it a lot. He's done a lot of deals like this for big names.
Jay Kuda, I don't know if I'm saying that right, covers the White Sox, 133,000 followers on X Twitter. He tweeted out earlier today after the trade saying that since the day Dylan Cease became part of the rotation 4.5 years ago, not a single pitcher has more starts than him. He had a 0.66 ERA over a 14 start span in 2022. Only him and Bob Gibson have ever done that. Recently, he's 28 years old, never gets hurt, never misses game. White Sox should have gotten more. That's the guy who covers the White Sox every single day.
And I read Kyle Glaser, Baseball America, formerly saying it's a fair trade for both sides. I've seen some other speculation of people saying that if they would have made this trade earlier, the White Sox, they maybe could have done a touch better than they ended up doing, getting this close to the season. So if nothing else, it doesn't feel like the White Sox have fleeced the Padres system here. And I don't know if the Padres have fleeced the White Sox. That's not the goal. It just is
better.
I mean, people think it is. It's about both teams getting better. People think the goal is to flat out win the thing like 100-0, like it's a baseball game or a basketball game. It's not. The goal is to address what you need and the other team to address what it needs. That's how trades work.
Sometimes in the long run, you might lose a trade, but if you're going for it, like you make trades for what you need in the now. And when they traded for Juan Soto, they needed him in the now because they thought they had a chance to go for it. And guess what? They made the NLCS. And then it blew up the next year because, I mean, these players just they all stunk, right? And then it blew up, and the Padres pivoted, and they put a big emphasis on pitching with trading away Juan Soto, like huge emphasis on pitching. And we'll see if it works out. And now getting Dylan Cease, it's what the Padres needed right now. And what the White Sox needed right now is to get as many prospects as possible because they're not in a position to win at all.
Yeah, let me just read this like scout speak on Cease, which is his fastball sits 95 to 101 with sink, 70 grade on a scout scale. Okay, I mean that's like Hall of Fame caliber fastball is what he works with, plus curveball. And he gets obviously swings and misses. Obviously, nobody's got more swings and misses than Dylan Cease since 2021. I mean, he's now 4 years into the big leagues or more. He's a proven effective frontline starter is what he is. Now, you might say he did it with the White Sox. He hasn't done it in the postseason. Yeah, some of it's fair. And you may say his command isn't good. People said the same thing about Blake Snell. Blake Snell's got 2 Cy Youngs despite that command. And by the way, Cease throws a lot more innings. Look at Cease's innings the last 3 years compared to Snell's. And innings per start. And listen, I don't think it's overly fair to be critical of Blake Snell's 2023. And I think it's fair to be critical of Dylan Cease's 2023. But the truth is he stays healthy. He works deeper into games.
Knock on wood.
He gets his stuff is electric. What's that?
I said knock on wood, he stays healthy.
Well, I mean, we can't control the future.
We can't, but you got to take that shot because guess what? There's nothing else to prove that he can't.
I'll tell you right now, I will not in any capacity, wrap-up show or the radio, blame AJ Preller for Dylan Cease's future health. That I will not do because nobody controls that, and he's been healthy. And when we got a call today on the radio, oh, he hasn't been healthy. No, he has. Nobody's been healthier. So if you can't hit on someone that has been as healthy as Dylan Cease, then, I mean, that's not AJ Preller's issue.
Sarah Langs, most swings and misses since the start of 2021. Dylan Cease, 1,437. Next guy is Garrett Cole at 1,426.
Yeah.
That's elite stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Carlos says Cease equals overrated. We didn't give up much. Thorpe equals a contact pitcher, and Iriarte still needs work. Cease has electric stuff, but isn't proven ace. Also, bad luck. Wilson give up home runs somewhere else. Well, that's going to happen on the south side. Unfortunately for Steven Wilson, I don't think he's overrated because, truthfully, you could argue that he's a little bit underrated or under the radar because of his time on the south side, pitching for the second team in Chicago and pitching on teams that haven't been very good. We'll see if he's a big game pitcher. Like, is he a guy that's winning postseason games? Well, he hasn't had that opportunity. But I think overrated is probably a stretch. He's had highs and lows, but I think Blake Snell has had highs and lows. And at the end of the day, Snell is going to make a lot of money. Cease is going to make a lot of money. These are frontline guys. They're not perfect. I'm not saying that he's the best pitcher in baseball, but I think he's a frontline ace pitcher. Based on what he's done to this point in his career.
If you think Blake Snell is an ace, then you have to think that Dylan Cease is an ace, because if you look at their numbers, right, Dylan Cease's best year, where he finished second in Cy Young. Who even won the Cy Young that year in the American League? Was it Shohei? Verlander? 2022?
I think so.
Okay. Very comparable to what Blake Snell did this past season for the Padres. And if you are a person that's saying that Blake Snell is an ace because of his last season, well, then you got to say that Dylan Cease at least is close to that, because the last 3 years overall have been better than Blake Snell's last 3 years overall. I would say maybe
misconstrue ace, but ace. I mean, there's 30 aces in theory. There's 30 frontline starters in baseball. If so, like, you don't have to be in top 3.
He gives you 30 plus starts. He gives you 170 plus innings, and he has the ability with the stuff he has to go out there and give you a sub-3 ERA.
Yeah, like, maybe. I mean, at his best, yeah.
What else you ask for?
And by the way, he's going to benefit from Petco, and not that guaranteed rate or whatever the hell it's called, Comiskey. The new Comiskey is a bad pitching yard, but he's going to benefit from Petco. He will. He just flat out will. So you could expect his numbers to improve based on the fact that half of his starts are going to be made at the best pitcher's yard in baseball outside of Seattle. Between San Diego and Seattle, you could argue which is the best pitcher's yard. Back to the super chats here. Thank you, guys. We'll tell you about our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz, coming up in a moment. The Padres have landed Dylan Cease. Please subscribe to our channel. We have year-round content for Padres fans. Darapot, thank you. For the super, who says we signed the best international pitching prospect. You're saying out of Mexico this offseason. We also have Snelling and Lesko to replace King and Cease. Say what you want about Preller, but he can retool the farm better than any GM out there. I mean, he is up there. He's up there. I haven't looked at all the farm systems around baseball, but what he did post Soto, acquiring Soto to get his system to this spot where he could pull something like this off, I do think is a pretty impressive feat.
And the pitching prospects that they have, the top 4, the Iriarte, Thorpe, Lesko, and Snelling, if you got a guy like Dylan Cease, 2 of those guys were going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't trade away everybody. I mean, if they traded away Ethan Salas and Drew Thorpe today for Dylan Cease, I think everyone would be losing their freaking minds, right?
If they trade away who?
Ethan Salas and Drew Thorpe.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ethan Salas.
I know. That's what I mean. Like Ethan Salas, and then you also trade away a top pitching prospect. You're like, what the hell's going on here?
Even if the deal was like straight for Salas, people would have lost their mind.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Again, I think Dylan Cease is. We said it just like 10 hours ago. Maybe how long was we have the Rapid Show? 11 a.m. So 11 hours ago, almost 12 hours ago, we were sitting here, same spots, talking about Dylan Cease and the rumors, saying, look, he is exactly what this team needs, because it creates a bigger margin of error for them. And also to have a 1, 2, 3, 4 of Darvish, Musgrove, Cease, and King on paper, I'm going up against anybody in baseball with that rotation. And if they stay healthy throughout the year, you can't tell me that they're not going to at least be in it. It's hard to envision them not being at least in it if those 4 guys are healthy for the entirety of the season.
Right. And I don't care what seed they are, to your point, because all that matters once you get into the postseason is like stacking your starters against the other team's starters and taking your chances. And if you're throwing Dylan Cease off a good year, or Joe Musgrove off a good year, or Yu Darvish off a good year, then you give yourself a chance. And what the Dodgers have run into is not regular season issues. It's, can we win a short series against elite starting pitching? The answer has been no each of the last 2 years. So that doesn't guarantee that that's going to continue moving forward. And it's not to say the Dodgers don't have good starting pitching. They do. But the difference between starting pitching today, like that's an interesting case study. Like the difference between starting rotations between the Padres and Dodgers probably isn't as extreme as what the differences could be in the regular season standings between the two teams when you look at the entire 26-man roster and the way that it's potentially going to play out. Dodgers have legitimate starting pitching if they're healthy too.
Yeah, the Dodgers lineup best in baseball. No one's touching it. You're not beating Betts, Freeman, Ohtani, Muncy, Will Smith, Teoscar Hernandez. Like that's the best lineup in baseball. On paper, it's the best lineup in baseball. Pitching though, like you said, elite pitching wins you postseason games, and it gets you in situations where you feel confident about yourself. And this morning, before they had Dylan Cease, thinking that, hey, you got to get to at least 85 wins this year, and thinking to myself, that's probably going to be kind of tough. I still thought that there would be a chance they could do it if a lot of things went right, but it would have been tough. Now, I'm not saying that they are easily going to win 85 games, but you give yourself a better chance to win 85 games plus to get in the postseason with a guy like Dylan Cease in your rotation. It's just you're giving yourself better chances with better players on your team. Just like last year, I would take last year's roster, like we said, over any day of the week. It's just last year's team just was an embarrassment.
Well, I go back to something I said earlier today, which is like you need to know who you are. It's like the Padres need to know who they are. They're going to be built on pitching and defense. They can spend all the money they want on offense. At the end of the day, they're going to win with pitching and defense. They're not going to beat people 10-8 all season long. And in the postseason, that's going to hold even more true if they get there. Listen, Yamamoto, all that money, he hasn't pitched in the big leagues. Could be great. Nobody knows. Glasnow is great when healthy. He's got to be healthy. Buehler is not healthy. Kershaw, don't even get us started. I mean, there's no real argument to be made. But that's the thing. Like, again, all things equal with full health, sure. I still think clearly it's uphill. But you get the right break and you're healthy and they're not fully. We've seen it play out. I mean, this is not wishful, really. You've just seen what has played out over the last couple of postseasons. Let me get to a couple of supers here. HBVVVVV. If Snooky Bet stops being Sesty, I will reveal my name. Okay, thank you. And then B-Ball saying, and thank you, says, not losing any sleep over the players leaving San Diego. Iriarte has the highest upside, but I think he's 50-50 to turn into a starter or high-end reliever. Cease helps now, which is needed with our core. Yes, the core, the aging core. You cannot be punting on any season when you have so much money tied in to these players like Machado and Bogarts right now, and Darvish and Musgrove. The players in their 30s. All four of the guys I just mentioned are in their 30s. It's a ton of money. You can't be looking down the road. You got to be looking at 2024.
Yep. You got to at least, and you owe it to these players, and you owe it to these guys that are, came here because not only they big money, but like they want to win. And you owe it to the fans, especially. You owe it to the fan base for not only raising ticket prices 3 times as much as they were 3 years ago, but to go out this season with just what they had. I mean, we were all fully prepared for that. And it was like a situation that happened at the 11th hour where they dropped this bomb and got, a really, really good pitcher to put in this rotation. But to go into this season without making another sizable move, or at least a move to help, I mean, even just a Tommy Pham, I think would have been viewed as like, okay, at least you feel like, okay, you have a chance to win, and you brought in another major league guy. Or if you got like a Michael Lorenzen, you brought him in, and Tommy Pham, you're like, okay, you got 2 major league guys, and that to me signals that they think that they can win. This absolutely signals, and Preller said it tonight as much, as like, we view ourselves as contenders, and with the pitching that they have, you feel like they could be in any game with those guys out there if they are healthy and if they perform. Those are the big ifs.
Yeah,
Big
no, it's not that big. I mean, like any team, if healthy, if perform, like
Right.
any team. We're going to do something we've never done before in the wrap up show in 90 seconds. Do not go anywhere. We're going to do something in 90 seconds we've never done on the wrap up show. We do need to tell you about our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance, who is a great insurance agent, a huge Padres fan. He's been texting with us all day long, native San Diego, and excited about the move for Dylan Cease. If you have an insurance need, let Mark save you money. I've got a homeowner's, earthquake, and life insurance policy through Mark. He's a terrific insurance agent. You can take that from me. He's got great service and communication. When I had to file a claim in 2022, he saved us thousands of dollars and dozens of hours of time. I wouldn't have known where to get started. Click the link in the description down below. You see his website on the screen right now. Whatever you need, auto, home, renters, life, earthquake, whatever it is, he can save you money. Before you renew, call Mark, free quotes. Go online, free quotes. But if you support our work, if you support our channel, if you have any insurance need, if you're looking for a great insurance agent that is a huge Padres fan, get in contact with Mark Nimitz, our title sponsor. Click the link in the description down below.
It's so funny. I'm currently talking to Mark about some car insurance, or gave me some quotes and talking through it and stuff. And he called me this morning because we were talking about it. And I said Dylan Cease, and he was adamant. He's like, dude, it's going to happen. And I was like, well, it makes too much sense. Because it makes too much sense, it probably won't happen. But it'd be fun if it did, because they absolutely need him. Well, of course, when it happened, Mark texted us and he's like, I told you, Jim. So congratulations, Mark. You were right about Dylan Cease. And if you have any insurance needs, you need to go to our buddy Mark Nimitz. All his information is on the ticker below, mnimitz@farmersagent.com. When you reach out to our buddy Mark, let him know that John and Jim from the wrap-up show sent you.
Love that idea. James says he needs to make a hat with Mark's info on it so Jim can wear it and his info can always be above his head. That's very good.
Now it's below my head. Sorry.
Exactly. We're going to get to Richard's super in a moment. If you're here, guys, subscribe. Year-round content for Padres fans. Smash the like button. Follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Keep the supers coming. We'll get to all of them. If you're here on replay, thank you for the super thanks. We appreciate your support of the channel. If you want to become a member, you're going to get emojis and badges. And some of you are about to become members automatically. How many memberships are you going to gift right now, Jim, on the wrap-up show? We have the ability to gift out a handful of memberships right now.
I'm going to be gifting out. It says here 5. I'll be gifting out 5 memberships. So here we go. Ready?
Let's see.
I think this works. We've never done this before. Yep, there we go. Gifted out 5 new memberships to the wrap-up show. We have, here we go. Here's the people that have been gifted memberships. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Gefilte Fish.
Oh, huge.
Paradise Hills. I see them on the chat all the time. Calvin Gregory.
We don't control this, by the way, guys.
No. Brian Huyang. And finally, we have Turquez LP.
Turquez LP. You guys now have the custom emojis like the Jim Sucks emoji.
Yes.
You now have the Jim's an Idiot emoji. I think you have. So you have the emojis. You have a badge. If you want to become a member like our new members, click the join button down below. You can join them in the conversation and interact with the emojis.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah. And
people are using them. I'm seeing the Jim Wow, Jim Sucks.
Yep. We'll put more emojis in there to start the season. We can put a couple more in there, but yeah, congratulations. You are now members of the wrap-up show.
We need the price was steep for Dylan Cease emoji.
Hey,
Richard,
Rhymes.
thanks, man. Richard, man, appreciate your support of the channel. He's a Dodger fan, but he supports the channel, so we appreciate it. He says, farm system capital is money in the bank. San Diego needs to scout and draft well to maintain a solid core. By doing so, you can make trades like this and keep your prized players. Padres or trades over
parades over prospects. I think
parades. Jim is never negative. Yeah, parades over prospects. I think most people that should actually be kind of. I mean, the Padres could use a parade, but they certainly don't hold on to these things. They're not prospect hugging. I mean, AJ Preller just is not. I mean, he loves going after big names. It hasn't worked fully the way he's intended for it to work, but he's not holding on to these players for dear life. He just has not been that guy as a GM here.
I will never criticize the Juan Soto trade. Not the one to the Yankees, but the first one when he was
When they
acquired from the
got him.
Nationals. I just won't criticize that. I applauded them going for it, and it kind of worked out in the first year. Will I retweet every player that does well that the Padres traded away? Yes, it's my bit. Sorry, but I will not criticize that. This trade, I will not criticize that. I'm just not going to criticize this trade, even if Drew Thorpe or Iriarte turn out to be good. I mean,
You may criticize it. You can, and things can change. I mean, it's just, I mean, we don't know about the field. Listen, I'm not going to criticize him if Cease gets hurt. If Cease
okay.
isn't effective, you know,
I think
it'll.
okay, fine. Right now, I won't criticize it because I think that this is exactly what they needed from a pitching standpoint, and they got it. And so it's hard to end this moment, do anything other than praise it and kind of be excited for it. But yeah, down the road, things could change. You're right. Things absolutely change. Everything changes. But in the moment, I really like this trade. I think that a rotation of King and Cease and Musgrove and Darvish, like, man, if they stay healthy and if they perform, like, that could be really good.
It is true. A lot of people, I think, do mute Jim's retweets. I kind of encouraged that at one point, and I feel bad about it. But I do still have Jim's retweets muted because I can't deal with it. So, by the way, if you don't know how to mute retweets, DM me. Okay,
know.
back to the super chats. HBVV, thank you. He says, last time we made a deal with the White Sox, we got our El Nino. Yes, it is the last trade between the Padres and the White Sox. It was
Worked
a good
out pretty
trade.
good for San Diego.
Yeah. New GM in Chicago, Chris Getz is their new GM. Thank you, 619 Cam. Appreciate you, man. He says, this is a typical AJ move, which helps to move the needle in the right direction, and hope AJ is working on an outfielder or DH before the Padres come back home. I think that becomes the more realistic thing here. Like, you can't be like, hey, go get a outfielder and put him on a plane. That's what Cease is going to do. But listen, what they have is what they have. Hopefully Profar's all right. I know he tweaked something today, ankle or knee. But hopefully he's all
getting on the
right.
plane.
It's 2 games. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound as if he is fully done. That's what Dennis Lynn's reporting tonight in The Athletic. He's still active and actively seeking potentially some outfield or DH help. So maybe this is the first of a series of moves, despite the fact that they haven't done anything of great significance until March 13th.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget. And I know we're praising this move by AJ Preller, but that's just also not forget. You know, he is still, in my eyes, viewed as a guy that has never gotten it done and never built a cohesive roster to win consistently. And he's done a lot of things that I think any other GM in baseball would have been fired over. This is so just because I like this trade a lot for this team doesn't mean all of a sudden it's like Preller gets an extension. Like, there's still a lot that could happen this year, and a lot of things could change, and they still need to make the postseason. Like, this does not guarantee them a postseason spot. It doesn't. It gives them a better chance to make the postseason. It gives them a better chance to have an opportunity to not only get in the postseason, but make some noise in the postseason with a pretty good rotation if healthy. But just because Preller has made this move doesn't mean that all is like just forgotten in my eyes. It's still a situation where he's on the hot seat. He's definitely on the hot seat still.
My opinion on that has changed. And let me explain.
Are you going to buy in We Trust Preller shirt?
Not buy it. I'm going to make him and try to profit off him. But what I'm going to do, and by the way, if you want new wrap-up show merch, click the link pinned in the top of the chat. Shameless plug. Okay? We have new wrap-up show merch and John and Jim merch. Click the link pinned in the top of the chat for the upcoming season. King 20, hear me out. King 2025, Cease 2025, Schilt, who cares, 2025. You see what they're doing. It's not all eggs one basket, all eggs two baskets. After 2025, your core is 34. Bogarts, you have through 2025 here. to hit it. I'm not saying you can fail in 2024, but I'm also not saying you have to do all the things we want them to do in 2024. I think he now has 2 years. You can like or hate it, and that's my opinion. And I'm doing it based on where you were going there about him being on the hot seat. I don't know if he is. I think when you have a mechanism to make a trade like this, you're trading away 3 of your top 10 prospects. A lame duck GM? You see what I'm saying? A lame duck GM? And that's why I'm asking, is he lame duck? 3 of your top 10 prospects. You've traded Juan Soto. Lame duck GM? Traded Juan Soto? I think he has 2 years. That's my guy. He's got 3 years. He's under contract for 3. I think he has 2 years to get this thing done, whatever that means.
I think he has multiple years only if they win this season.
When you say win, you mean make postseason?
Correct.
We can argue that as the season goes. I may end up agreeing with you. We'll see what record it takes to get to the postseason. If it's 84 wins and they don't get there, okay, maybe that's not good enough then that they didn't get to 84 wins. But if it's like the American League and it takes 88 or 89 and he ends up with 85 or 86, I don't know. I could be convinced one way or the other over the next 6 months. I don't know if he's going anywhere off an 85 and 77 season if they miss out.
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll have to see how. Yeah, we'll have to see how the season plays out. Like if there's a bunch of injuries and they still get to 85, 86 wins, it's like, whoa, okay, cool. But, we don't know the future of Ha-Seong Kim. Darvish is going to be, almost 40, right? All these players are a year older. Injuries, like there's a lot of things that could be changed. I mean, think about where we were at last year at this time. Completely different.
Who even knows? Yeah.
Completely different. So I think, yes, one, we have to watch the season play out for sure before we can definitively go one way or the other. But I do stand by, I think, like you said, that the 2-year window, well,
it just feels like they've opened it up to a second year.
But yeah, yes and no from a standpoint of, I mean, if you lose again and you don't make the postseason again, coming off of last year,
that's 3 out of 4 years out.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 years, and you've spent a boatload of money, even though the payroll got slashed by almost $100 million this year. You spent a boatload of money, and you've raised ticket prices a lot. Okay, now credit to the fans; they've sold out. Great, that's awesome, but still, you're raising ticket prices, and you don't make the postseason 3 of the last 4 years. That's a problem. And with Mike Schultz only being under contract for 2 years, that to me signaled like, okay, if this doesn't work this year and they don't make the postseason, it would be an easy, like, just we're done with Preller, we're done with Schultz, we're going a new direction. But it's also hard to do that when you have so much, like, invested. I get that point. You have so much invested in all of this. I get it.
And that's how I felt. Honestly, I felt like 2024 was make or break until I realized, like, you got to think about it from this perspective. AJ Preller is pulling the strings on the future of the franchise, whether he's here or not. You traded Juan Soto for all kinds of future pieces. Yeah. You traded for Dylan Cease, giving up a lot of future pieces. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me that they then part ways from someone that's been so instrumental in such massive change. Again, I'm not saying it's not possible. If it goes completely sideways, of course it is possible. And I agree with you. His leash has been very long, and you could easily make the argument that other organizations would have parted ways a long time ago. But here we are today in San Diego, and he has players under control through 2025 that he has acquired or let go over the course of the last 6 months. It just, we'll see. We'll see.
Leon makes
it's true. It's true.
You make a good point, Leon. I mean, Preller hasn't won jack shit in his time as a general manager, but God, is he entertaining.
He's made the wrap-up show. I mean, let's be honest.
It really has.
Harv, thank you. He says if Preller realizes the importance of roster depth, he's the best GM in sports history. I mean, it's true. Everyone's got blind spots, and he does. The truth is, very few teams have won the way he's attempted to win, with stars and names. Like, that's not baseball's way of winning. Typically, you don't just go out and acquire names and win a World Series. It has happened. Teams have been able to do it, but the Padres almost obsess over it. Like, it's always a name, an ace, a slugger, and it hasn't really worked out. And then we're sold on, well, international draft classes or prospects. But at the end of the day, what he likes to do is go splashy and go front line. But he doesn't like to go like eighth, ninth. He's not, I mean, I'm sure he is thinking about it, but you're never talking about the ninth player in the lineup or the fifth starter or the middle of the bullpen. You're always talking about, Juan Soto and Dylan Cease and Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah. And the only way like this is sustainable and it works is if his system hits. If like Jackson Merrill, like you gotta,
He's going to need that one.
you're gonna need that one. It'd be nice if like a Graham Pauly turned into something.
Yeah,
It would
definitely.
be, I know Ethan Salas is viewed as the next coming of Pudge Rodriguez and Johnny Bench combined into one, but like you're gonna need Ethan Salas to hit. You just are. You're gonna need these young. You're gonna need either a Lesko or a Snelling, one of those guys to hit.
Right.
You just,
I agree.
like you can't afford to continue down this path and not have your farm system contribute to the big league level. You just can't. And so we'll find out if that will happen this year, because like we said this morning, there's going to be 6 rookies on this opening day roster. Now, 2 of them are from across seas, but still 4 of them are from within your system.
Yeah, we're talking about like Estrada in a bullpen replacing Steven Wilson. We're talking about Merrill, obviously. We're talking about Graham Pauly potentially. There's another name in there, right? We talked about it. Oh, like a Tyler Wade is probably on this roster.
Probably.
So there, yeah, I mean, 6 to 26. It's very interesting. It's a have and have not roster, which is AJ Preller. You got 10 guys making a fortune of money, 16 guys making nothing. That's what this team is. That's not atypical around baseball, but it feels exaggerated with the Padres. They have all their money tied up in 5 players. Almost all of it is tied up in 5 players. Can you win that way? We'll find out.
And we haven't really talked about him a lot, but I see his name in the chat right now, and a guy that is from the system, and we don't talk about him because all we do is talk about Ethan Salas, but Luis Campusano is a Preller guy. And
yeah,
you saw flashes of it last year with his bat, especially. And I think the improvement behind the plate defensively was a huge part of Luis Campusano's year last year. I mean, if he takes that jump, then that is a guy that I would absolutely put in the mix of system hitting. Like you need, like you get Campusano and Merrill to hit this year and both contribute, then you're off to you feel good about yourself because you're having guys from within your system contribute to the major league club in a big way, like starters roles. So yeah, Campusano's absolutely in that category with Merrill, with Pauly, with Estrada, with whoever else you want to put out there. Like absolutely he is in that mix for sure. As far as system guy goes, needing to contribute.
Yeah, I mean, this is a complete aside, and then I want to get to one of our sponsors here, Aura. As a complete aside, and I've said this to you before, and I've thought this before, if Ethan Salas is who you think he is offensively, generational, complete power-producing player,
right,
then I don't think he's their long-term catcher. Because you're not trying to catch a guy that's your best offensive weapon. Look around baseball; it's rare. It's becoming more rare. You don't want to zap power, legs, longevity from a player that is generational, 15-year impact on a franchise. That's rare out of a catcher. We'll see. He comes up a catcher. We'll see if they need him as a catcher. If Luis Campusano hits, then you don't need him necessarily as a catcher. So is he a first baseman in the future? Is he a corner outfielder? It's a conversation for another day. He's young. He's not going to play in any capacity, I wouldn't think, in 2024 here. I'm just saying, if he is who they say he is, and I have no idea, but if he is that type of player, top of the top, then I just wonder if his future is as a full-time catcher or not in the big leagues. We can get back to that in a moment. I do want to remind our viewers about our friends over at Aura. Will, their co-founder, is a huge Padres fan. It's a big day, obviously, for all Padres fans. They have offices, Aura, right here in Liberty Station in San Diego. Will's their co-founder. This is an amazing company, plant-based nutritional products. You want to get healthier this year, so do we. Baseball season is here. They have plant-based nutritional products, all of them. Probiotics, I take one every day from Aura. I have for 2 years. For digestion, heart health, and mental health. They have pre-workout supplements, proteins for after workouts, omega-3 oils. If you're taking a fish oil, find the omega-3 oil from Aura by clicking the link down below or going to ora.organic. They have sleep pills and immunity pills. They have something literally for everyone, yourself, your family, your friends. Check them out. Get healthier this year. Support our channel. They're San Diego-based, ora.organic.
Yeah, go there right now if you want to live a healthy lifestyle. They have pre-workouts. They have post-workout protein, healthiest on the market. Go there right now, www.ora.organic. Pick up some stuff. Be healthier in your life, and you will thank us later.
A move like today proves something about, like, managing matters. Like, Bob Melvin can impact the team. Mike Schilt can impact the team. But what can really impact the team is a move. Mike Schilt's not a better manager, but he's got better players today. If Dylan Cease makes 33 starts and posts a 3.5 ERA or better, wins 14 games, then Mike Schilt all of a sudden has a chance to have a better season than he had a day ago. So it'll be interesting to see how this all comes together, Jim, in such a short period of time. I think maybe it's good that Cease will join them in Korea. That appears to be the plan right now. This has a chance to be something you don't get a lot in professional sports, like a bonding type trip. How often are you going to be out on the road like this overseas? I mean, they're basically together. You've had spring training, but now it's like these next 2 weeks leading up to March 28th. I mean, they're spending a ton of time, obviously, doing something really unique. It'll be interesting to see how they come together as a group. I would think the players leaving for Korea right now just got that, like, proverbial shot in the arm. Like, hey, they're adding two. They're helping us. They're helping our cause to start a year. I would think they would see it positively in the clubhouse. Completing Cactus League play, heading to Korea, and adding Dylan Cease. I'm sure that's got to be seen as a win in the clubhouse. Has to be.
Oh, 100%. You see that move being made, you look to your left and right, and you're like, all right, they believe in us. Like, they believe that we can go out there and compete and we can win. And that's exactly what this type of move does. It gives you energy if you're on that team. Now, the flight's still going to be long, but maybe it feels just a tiny bit shorter now because you're like, cool. Now it does, again, for guys like Steven Wilson. Luckily, thank God this trade did not happen while they were in the air. Oh my God. Could you imagine? That would have been a disaster.
They were going to the airport.
They were ready. They had their bags packed and they're waiting for the buses.
Yeah, the article from, I think, Jeff Sanders said that Steven Wilson was with his girlfriend and the team and other players of the team waiting to go to the airport, like sitting at a picnic table when his phone rang. But that's professional sports. I mean, it's different. It's not what you or I do or most of our viewers. Like, that doesn't happen with most people, but most people don't have the opportunity to earn like professional players.
Right.
It's a part of the business. It's a weird business,
So you're right. It gives this team a shot in the arm. It can make Mike Schilt a better manager. And I'm sure that the team, once they get to Korea and Dylan Cease gets there, you're right. It's a very unique experience where maybe in spring training it might take a little longer, but now it's like they're all staying together. They're not going to go places that they know because there's a lot of places they don't know. The only person that knows anywhere is Hassan Kim and Musa Go. Other than that, it's like, hey, you want to hang out with me? Because I don't have anywhere to go. So now also don't forget, like, this is still a work trip for these guys, and it's going to be the weirdest work trip ever because you still have to get ready for a regular season. You can't just go for 12 days and be like, cool, Korea, this is awesome. And then the second you get back, you're jet lagged as a motherfucker. You go to Fan Fest, you're like, where am I? And then you play 2 exhibition games, and oh, by the way, the season starts, back at home tomorrow. You're like, whoa.
Which brings up an interesting point, and I want to get to the super here from JD's third, and we will in one moment. But Michael had it in the chat. Who starts March 28th? Because you've added Cease, and there's some exhibitions in here, but he's not pitching against the LG Twins. I mean, there's no way he's going to fly late and when pitch the 17th or the 18th. He just pitched yesterday.
Okay.
So he pitched the 12th, but he's not going to pitch the 20th. I'd be shocked.
Why not?
Because he's not even with the team now.
But he's on his way. Am I wrong?
No, I don't know if he's on his way literally now. He's going to be on his way. Is he on the plane right behind the Padres plane, or is he a day or two behind them? Is my point.
Okay, well, if he's a day behind, I don't feel like that's a problem. I mean, all these players are going to be dealing with it, John. Like they're
Yeah,
all going to be dealing with jet lag. They're all
yeah.
going to be dealing with the
No, you're
travel.
right.
It's not
So
just
maybe you're
Dylan
right.
Cease.
Yeah.
And
No,
by
that's a
the
fair
way,
point.
he's probably on a plan. Like he's all right. Here's my throw day.
Well, he's
Here's
going to certainly throw bullpens.
Yeah, but I'm sure he's on a
Yeah.
plan about starting, and I'm sure that the Padres have already talked about this, especially Ruben Niebla and everybody on the staff of like, all right, this is our plan for Dylan because he was on this plan, and I'm sure Dylan's talked to them about what he was doing, and they've probably already crafted something out to where you might see him throw an inning in Korea in one of these exhibition games because he needs to work.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. I thought that was maybe a stretch, but I'm wondering if we see him in Korea in a regular season game. Now, again, it's a
Mm,
little weird. New team out of the bullpen
yeah,
for a
I
guy that
wouldn't do
only
it. I wouldn't
starts.
do it.
I wouldn't do it either. But would you pitch him March 28th?
Home opener?
I mean, would you? I mean, these other guys are starting before him. It's not. Are you really offending you, Darvish or Joe Musgrove, if they've already made starts? If they don't get the opening day start, I mean, what are you waiting for? It's still in Cease. You got to pitch him now. Now, all of a sudden, he's not going to pitch until March 30th in the regular season.
I would still give it to either Joe or Darvish, and then, you know, everything is fine. Like we talked about it. You want to have Darvish and Musgrove start as many games as possible. I know Dylan Cease is you put up the
He's
top
up
of
there
the
too.
is up there too for sure. You want to have Dylan Cease pitch as much as possible as well, but there's also probably we don't want to rush things type of mentality here, but we also have had our plan and we don't want to mess that plan up because I'm sure
Yeah.
they have a plan to go for March 28th. Who's going to start that game?
Right.
They just
And this
haven't
guy's
told
pitching.
anybody.
And here's the thing with Cease is not. I mean, this guy's pitching beautifully, so you throw him right in. I mean, he just struck out 8 in like 3 innings in the Cactus League. I mean, the guy's fully healthy. He's 28 years of age. Throw him to the fire, whatever that means. It'll be interesting to see how they do it. But I mean, he's got to stay on a plan and a regiment because he's heading towards the season just like everyone else is.
And before we get to the super, you know what I just thought of too? Like this theoretically should help out a guy like Michael King because Michael King was slated as their number 3. And going from 9 innings that he pitched last year to what he wanted to go to this
180,
year,
that was never going to happen.
180. Like this gives him an opportunity to not really have to maybe push that. And by having Cease in that rotation, you just take another day off and from Michael King. And I think it could help Michael King for sure.
Yeah, I agree with
take
that.
pressure off.
JD's third, thank you, man. I appreciate your super chat. Guys, if you're here, please subscribe. We have year-round content for Padres fans and baseball fans. We appreciate the super chats and the super thanks if you're here on replay. Click the $ below the chat box. He says, AJ must win in the playoffs. We've seen this movie with flashy moves before, 10 years, yada, yada, 0-91 seasons, no divisions, 2 playoff appearances, 6 managers. Katspenda has spoken, last chance. I don't think he's spoken to that degree. And I think Jim agrees with me. I don't think the Padres make the playoffs and make a change. I would be shocked.
They don't.
If the Padres made the playoffs and made a change at general manager, that would be shocking to me.
The only way that they make a change a general manager, I do agree, John. I think that there's a plan, and I think that he has a couple years. But the only way is if this thing just bottoms out. Like if they just
and that's nobody wants to see that. But if it happens because it's sports. Then then ramifications are absolutely coming. But if they don't bottom out and they lose as a wild card team, he will be the GM in 2025, whether we like it or not.
Yeah,
would be my guess.
JD's third. They don't have to win in the postseason. They don't.
No,
they just have to get there. There's a big difference. They have to get to the postseason.
No, the Yankees need to win the postseason. The Dodgers need to win in the postseason.
Yeah, right.
The Padres need to get to the postseason.
Right.
And he follows up by saying, with Cease, we go from 75 to 79, 80, need more. I mean, it's a possibility. Yeah. It is a possibility. Vegas and Fangraphs and simulations say they go from more like 80 to 82 or 82 to 84.
Have you checked?
But nobody really knows.
Have you checked odds? Has they changed?
Or odds?
Like win total?
I don't think Zips has it in yet. I haven't seen Vegas win totals.
I'd be curious
if someone has anything updated on that. I don't think it's going to change things drastically. I do think it should change things for the positive. I would say it's got to be worth 2 wins. in Vegas, I would think it's worth 2 wins in Vegas. 1.5, 2 wins, and that's can be the difference. Like we've been talking about, it's got to be worth 2 wins. Jeremy, thank you, man, for your very generous super chat. He
Thanks,
says, "Hope
Jeremy.
Cease is worth 5+ wins." I agree. He's capable of being that guy, by the way. Think he can be, and I'm excited. We only gave up 1, maybe 2 of this year's prospects. Good gamble, solid return. I mean, it's a legit return, and they did give up a decent amount, not the most you could possibly give up. He had a 2.5 WAR last year with a high ERA. Yeah. I mean, I think he can be a 4 WAR pitcher for the Padres in 2024 if it works out.
Absolutely. He just has to go out and be the closer to the 2022 version of Dylan Cease rather than the version last year. Even
or maybe somewhere in between would be fine.
Yeah. In the version last year, like overall, you might look at the high ERA and say that he had a bad year. But I think if you look at everything else that he did, all the like advanced numbers, like I think it was still a pretty solid season for a really shitty team.
Right. Probably. I mean, they lost 100 games. Was he really as motivated? And, I'm not making excuses, but let's be honest, guys. They lost 100 games.
And we all trust Ruben Niebla here more than
A lot.
And we've seen what he's done with pitching. So well, I don't see how, if you're a Padres fan, you're not like looking at this deal as like, if you're not excited about it. I just don't see how you.
I don't see how you can't be excited about it.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I agree. Retod, thank you, says, as Kirsten Wright said it, cheers, Padres fans. I was starting to forget what it's like to be excited about the Padres. I mean, it was a pretty disappointing, upsetting with Peter Seidler's passing. And then the Soto trade was, freeing up all that salary, and then you never address it all offseason. You never add. It was the whole baseball offseason in general as a sport has been relatively quiet other than the Dodgers. And then you couple it with how quiet the Padres have been, and it has been pretty disappointing to this point. I would agree with that.
Yeah. And the 11th hour, he makes this move.
Like even beyond it for that Korea flight, right?
They're all waiting for it. And I like it. I like the deal.
Okay, I do want to remind our viewers, as you get ready for the regular season, you need to do it with our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. You are looking right now at underdogfantasy.com. If you use promo code PODSWRAP, that is PADSWRAP, you're getting a 100% deposit match up to $100. Okay, 100% deposit match up to $100. Whatever sport it is, you can play pick'ems right now, simple hires or lowers, going on the NBA, college hoops, obviously, Major League Baseball, even spring training action. Jim and I have been doing that here recently. You got to sign up for the Korea series, play the pick'ems. You go 2 for 2, you're winning 3 times your money. You go 3 for 3, 6 times, 4 for 4, 10 times, 5 for 5. You can win 20 times your money in a single night. So use promo code PODSWRAP, that is PADSWRAP, and get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Let me show you that. Let me show you the video real quick. Underdog Fantasy, promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP. Easiest place to play. 20 times your money or more in a single night. Simple pick'ems. If you insure them, you can get one wrong and still win. But again, 3 times your money, 2 for 2. 6 times your money, 3 for 3. 10 times your money, 4 for 4. 20 times your money by going 5 for 5. Use promo code PODSWRAP. Click the link in the description down below. You're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $100. I think you played earlier today, didn't you? I think we both played within the last 24 hours, didn't we?
I did. I lost, John.
What'd you lose on? You lost on Yamamoto, who struck out more than 5.5, right? He was higher than 5.5 strikeouts.
I lost on Musgrove and Yamamoto. I said lower,
thanks,
lower
Joe.
than 5.5 strikeouts for Yamamoto and lower than 4.5 strikeouts for Joe.
How many strikeouts did Joe have today?
He had 5.
Look at Joe. He also went, 4 1/3 innings, which is good.
I also forgot just they're playing like the worthless Oakland A's.
Man, they're so bad.
And Yamamoto, he struck out 7 today, but he also got lit up. I mean, his ERA this spring is up there in the high 7s. So
is he available?
Not Dylan Cease.
No, right, exactly. All right, let's get back to it here. Michael, thank you, man. He says, what do you guys think of the HSK docuseries? Have you watched any of this on the Padres? Like, hey, it's Korea. I watched the first episode. I didn't watch the second. I don't know if there's a third. They did like Don Orsillo voicing over Ha-Sung Kim in Korea.
I have not watched the latest one. No.
I'm going to be honest, Michael. I think it's okay. I'm not like enamored by it. What do you think? Honestly, Michael, put it in the chat. I think it's okay. I think it's cool to see Korea and Kim in Korea, but it's not like, to me, it's not exactly like Hard Knocks. It's nothing like that, but it's cool. Is what I would say.
It's one of those things where like it's gonna get fans even more attached to Ha-Sung Kim, and it's gonna hurt even more like if and when he leaves this team and doesn't get re-signed this offseason.
Right.
Especially if he plays well this year. It's just gonna hurt even more because he is definitely one of the top 2 as far as like fan favorites on this team. I could argue he's number 1.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, he's one of the most popular players on the team.
Yeah, he's easily. I mean, Manny is probably maybe viewed as the best player along with Tatis, but as far as beloved players on this team, it's hard to come up with someone that's more beloved than Ha-Sung Kim at this moment in time.
Oh, shoot. We need to watch the newest episode. The first episode is about like his upbringing, his high school. Hey, I want to play. Remember the quote that Ben Fadden tweeted out? Like Ha-Sung Kim said when he was young, he wanted to win. Like, that's not shocking. But David says we need to watch the most recent episode. Thanks for the super. He says new Kim episode brought me to tears.
Oof.
Ooh, tear jerker. Maybe I'll watch it on the plane to Korea. Well, I'm going to Vegas tomorrow. Maybe I'll watch it on the flight to Vegas. I might get to Vegas before they get to Korea, to be honest.
You're like, guess what? I'm going to Korea. That'd be a freaking
man. Honestly, I think I would do it.
Do you see the plane they're flying on? If I'm going 14 hours, I want to fly on that one.
I know. It has like plush seats and all business class and
also
yummy food.
Did you see the like tracksuits that they were wearing?
No, not really. Maybe. I don't know.
Look up their social media. Yeah, and they're wearing like these really nice. They might have been velvet. I don't know, but it was like zip up.
Who bought those?
Dark gray.
Oh
zip up
yeah,
hoodies.
I see these. Those are cool. Those with like kind of like gold. Like the SD is almost like gold.
It's like
like silver gold,
like silver gold, and then like really nice sweatpants and like with the SD logo on the side. I'm like,
yeah,
dude,
really cool.
Those are.
Is that in the team store? Is that in the team store? That's really cool.
I need those tracksuits now.
Yeah, those are really cool. Maybe they sell those online. Seriously, those are really well done.
Those look when you clean.
You better get comfortable on a 14-hour flight if you're a professional athlete. That's long. I mean, that's crazy for anyone, but you got to perform on the other side of it. Yeah. So I'll watch the Kim episode.
At least they get a couple days to like try to acclimate to Korea.
Yeah.
I mean, for Manny, it's a vacation. So
it's a vacation. It's a baseball vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you mentioned that. I didn't realize it. I didn't think about it. I just probably scrolled over it. But
their plane
pretty
is
dope.
Sweet, dude. Their plane is nice.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have that same aircraft for my Spirit flight tomorrow morning.
Probably not.
Does Spirit have that same Airbus or whatever?
You're like, hey, where's the like?
Yeah,
where's
TV
my like and the bed?
Where's my like 52-inch wide seat?
Right. And where's the filet mignon? Even though I don't eat filet mignon, but where is it?
I'll take it though. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, before we get out of here, if you wouldn't mind, again, you can click the link that is pinned in the top of the chat. We have brand new merchandise for the new season, which includes John and Jim merchandise. Here we are with our Padres 98 John and Jim theme, T-shirt, and merch. In addition to Padres 98, we have John and Jim, of course, brown and gold as well. That's Aaron.
What?
We also have wrap-up show merchandise. Here I am when I was younger. That kind of looks like you. But we've got new merch for the new season. So if you want to support our work, if you want to check it out, the season is here. You can click the link pinned in the top of the chat. There's also a link down below in the description. Wrap-up show merch, our brand new logo, John and Jim merch, brown and gold and 98 edition. Jim, we've picked up some of this new merch. And I know we saw SD Fritz tweeted about a new hat today.
Yeah.
So now's the time. Now's the time. The season is here.
Now's the time. Get your stuff. There'll be multiple opportunities to get some, swag and check it out and be on the lookout for potentially more swag here in the future.
I like that. Okay, guys. Dylan Cease is a Padre. Pretty cool day. I mean, who envisioned it getting completed within 24 hours? From when we heard about it last night from Ken Rosenthal, John Morosi today, to getting it done. Shoot, we were on the air. We didn't think it was happening that quickly, and it did. So it was a pretty cool day, obviously, for Padres fans. We'll get to these supers as they roll in here. Like this one, 619 Cam, thank you. He says, over under bet MGM is 83.5. So I think it went up a win and a half or two.
Maybe 3, because I think it was 80 and a half.
Honestly, well, baseball perspective was 80.6 wins or 80.4 wins
So
today.
Dylan Cease was 3 wins.
Maybe 2, but I mean, that's
2.
significant. That's what you're looking for. That's why it's like, oh, go get Profar. Profar's not worth any wins. All due respect.
No.
like a starting frontline starter, like, is he worth a couple of wins? Yeah. That's, again, 83.5. We're not, coming up with the parade route as of yet, but you're starting to tick towards a position where you're contending for a playoff spot if you can get over that number to 84 or more. So that's encouraging.
I just don't see how there's any negative in the immediate for this trade.
Yep. No, I agree with you. Guys, here live on replay, subscribe. Year-round content for Padres fans. We have you covered. By the way, we should mention watch party a week from tonight at 3 a.m.
It's happening,
the Padres and the Dodgers. You have to join us a week from tonight. Padres, Dodgers. We will be your alternate watching experience. Yeah, and sleeping through it. Both nights, 3 a.m. Pacific. Join us right here on the wrap-up show. So subscribe, click the little bell. You'll get notified when we go live. Smash the like button for us. Follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Thank you for the super thanks. If you're here on replay, please support our partners, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. If you have an insurance need, he can save you money. He's a great insurance agent. He's our title sponsor. Click the link in the description down below. Aura, you want to get healthier? They have plant-based nutritional products for you, including their probiotic, ora.organic. Underdog Fantasy, take advantage of the offer right now. Get ready for the Korea series. Use promo code PODSWRAP. Get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Shoot, get ready for March Madness and play Pick'ems. Use promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP. Get a 100% deposit match. All right, much more as the week continues for Jim. I'm John. This has been the wrap-up show. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Jim.